So first things first, aforementioned that this is the last year of the grants. So students, if you're not in the meeting, we're going to start in December. We're going to start the process of the funding because if you don't get the money by February 28th, you won't get the funding because it goes back to the federal government. So it please be on top of that and UH has quite a bit of bureaucracy, so the sooner we get that in, the better. And I want to make sure you get your money. So I think everyone would appreciate that. So with NSF grants, National Science Foundation grants, and grants in general, we have the knowledge generation part and we have broader impacts. So this grant, the knowledge generation part of it is in using the CAL framework, does this help students with their academic journey? So we're seeing if that is and so with this meeting, I want to introduce the CAL framework. I know that we have a truncated year with it ending in February, but I wanted to have kind of the overview of it so you can see it. So, and there are four parts for the framework, and the framework also is about the life of Maui. So, directly the life of Maui, specifically on bringing fire. So, and we take that story of Maui and his life and bringing fire, and then break it into four different parts, and then applying that to your college experience. So the first one is the whoa, and this is the why. So, why are you here? Why are you going to college? What's your dream? What's your goal? What's keeping you going? What's keeping you on track? And this is my favorite step actually, but it's also, it, I am a dreamer. What can I say? But like, it can also be your daily hua, like, what's keeping you going today? What's keeping you towards the goal and the long goal? And after that, there's the hahalele, which is the preparation and the separation. So it's you going to college and you prepared for it. How did you prepare? Not everyone is a traditional student. I mean, I myself came right out of high school, went into college, and I went to a college prep high school. Some people had other things before that, and you separate, you leave your family, you leave your friends, and you go to college. And then the next step is the huakai, which is the journey. This is right now. So for you students, this is your experience right now. You're in college, you are studying, you're doing it, you're getting your degree, and then you get at the end, the hui. This is when you give back. So now that you've had your degree, I mean, looking for the future, how are you giving back? What are you giving back to community? And that kind of thing. So uh, normally, I know with everyone here, we would talk about our dreams and whatnot. So, uh,
I'm happy to.
okay, please.
I'm familiar with this because I have done this in a few I did this with a workshop with Hawaii Found Her. I was actually accepted into the first cohort of Hawaii Found Her, which was for uh Pacifica Island women entrepreneurs. And it was funding and support. So we actually did framework for this. Same thing, which was really great. Um, but I
Kava
would definitely
framework specifically?
yeah, this we used this and then I also did it because I'm part of the Mu'oa'e, the Hawaiian support group on at the Maui campus. And then when we did our orientation, we did this too. We did this exercise and just talking about I mean, I'm happy to tell
Yeah, of
you
course.
hua and all those things. Um, the why I would definitely say is my children, for myself as well, but definitely for my children and just seeing how much the world has vastly changed in the past 10 years, I would say. Um, that is definitely my biggest why. Um, as far as my dream, I'm like you, I'm a dreamer. I'm always thinking of ways for betterment, honestly, and workable solutions just in my everyday life. So I would say that my big dream is to be able to bring my knowledge and my schooling into something. that is beneficial, not just for me and my family, but for an entirety, for everyone, because I truly believe it's not just about me, it's about all of us. Um, and why are you here has a lot to do with my dream, other than the job market here on Maui is it's pretty rough, especially living in haiku and having two little ones. It was kind of one of those things. I actually had the only cloth diaper delivery service business here on Maui. And then through COVID, I saw some really ups and downs, and I ended up having to shut it about a year and a half ago. And I thought, what am I going to do? I can go, work at a hotel, drive all the way to the south side or the west side. I could try to get a job in a school. There were just certain things that weren't pulling at me. And I thought there's no better time now to go to school. Um, so that's pretty much why I'm here, is just where I am in my life right now. And why did I decide to go to college? Job market is rough on Maui. Hold on, please. As you can hear, I have my little ones calling me.
Okay,
Okay, you need to go grab it,
the
please.
filter's working fine. We can't hear.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, going to college, it just seemed like time for me. I'm going to be 43. I never went to college out of high school. Once I graduated high school, I pretty much hightailed it out of Maui and went and lived in California. I lived in San Francisco, lived in LA, and then I met my now husband and lived in New York City for a very long time, for over a decade. Um, and, just coming to college just seemed like such a good time. Right now, it's such a good time for me with my children being a good example, not really, I don't, not to downplay what people do, but I thought, if I go work for a hotel or something to try to make a living, I feel like I'm kind of working for the enemy, and I feel like I can offer more of meaningful work to here to Maui. So that's why I decided to go to college. And and the reason why I wanted this degree is because I find it super, super important to try to be a problem solver in such a big problem today, where everybody kind of seems like we're fixing something, and then it doesn't seem like we're like creating another problem. And, just trying to have some kind of positive impact in our world for thrivability for people, for our planet. And I feel like I'm really good at systems thinking just from the kind of business that I had, and working with a chemist, setting up a facility, having possibly one of the only true circular businesses here in Hawaii during COVID. So I thought, why don't I just like kind of get into that and see where that takes me? Because I have a very big interest in it, and I feel like I'm actually good at it as well. Um, and then what I dream for the future, um, honestly, thrivability for people. It's really, really hard for people. And um, I see, I see that this world, I mean, it's so beautiful, and we tend to really, really take it for granted, and just very extractive practices. And I just dream for a better future where people can be less extractive and more mindful. Um, I can go on and on about that.
Yeah.
I'll spare you guys the long-winded dream of my of what I hope the future to be. But it's a good one. It's a good one.
Um, Now, many of your classmates, I found if you want to start an argument, say, hey, what do you guys think about water rights here in Hawaii?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so I'm just hoping to bring some really, really good positive movement forward, and some change, really, really some change, and look around and really understand that these things are here for us, and we need to be here for it as well. It's just not take, 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 and kind of turn the blind eye. And then everybody's kind of like, oh, what's going on? It's like, oh, well, this has been going on for a long time. So let's put our heads together and try to figure this out in a better way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I remember a lot of the focus groups for sustainability. When I was on Maui, I was really involved in the sustainability committee. I guess, well, anyways, a lot of it's changed. But I know, I guess you talk a lot to Megan and Tim, right? Megan Jones and Tim
Uh,
Bach.
More so Tim, Professor Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is Megan? She's still there, yeah? Or
I haven't. I haven't actually met her yet. We've just emailed like back and forth, but
Okay.
I haven't yet to meet her.
Yeah. Oh,
I
I get.
think Megan is more 300 and 400 courses.
Yeah. Well, we should probably move on, unless Elizabeth, you think you and I should share anything, or should we just?
No, right now you can continue, Michael.
Yeah. Wait, where we are. Okay. So moving on, preparation and separation. So it's with Maui, he prepared with his brothers and left his mother behind. So as you prepare for college, there are some people you are going to leave behind. You might, oh, we lost it. Oh, we lost David. Okay. Um, some people, you might leave behind. And they also at the same time you gain new friends. So I mean that's one interesting nice with that. But I mean there is a change. There's a sacrifice when you go to college and it's almost like a new relationship. Um, and because like you say, when you have a new relationship, you your friend circles can change. So who's coming with you? Who are you leaving behind? What what things do you have to change? There's a lot of habits you have to change. I mean, you're gonna have less time, so you have to work less. Your relationships are also going to change. Relationships with your family, relationships, work relationships, the type of work you do. Maybe you stop working. Maybe some other things change. So there's a lot of it's and in preparing for it, a lot of things are going to change. So and to do it in an intelligent fashion, you should also do this mindfully. I mean, and of course, it's already gone to pass, right? But I mean, because of course we're in the college experience for you guys, but you guys being the students. But here we are. Here we are in this part of it. Like, so how did you prepare? So for me myself, I mentioned a little bit. I did go to a college prep high school, and I come from a very academic family. So I know like I came right out of high school. I actually went right into from grad school, from undergrad to grad. I went straight through. And I graduated pretty early. Actually, I got my PhD at 26. So I just really kind of trucked through. And I mean, I started preparing even for graduate school when I was in high school because I wanted to get a PhD. So that was part of my hua, I wanted to get the PhD. But and leaving behind, I guess maybe more applicable for me in this is when I left. I'm from Ohio and I moved from Ohio to California, and I left a lot of people behind in Cal when I moved to California. That was quite the journey there, and preparing for it, and just I mean, and geez, when I got to grad school, that was a whole new experience for me. Anyways, I should not talk too long. Sometimes Elizabeth yells at me, I talk too much, but. Uh, well, Ilani, do you want to talk at all, or do you want to? I mean, are you happy? I'm not going to force you to share at all. My
Oh
story.
no. Um, well, once I decided that school was the best choice for me and something that I really wanted to do, um, dive into, I prepared. My landlord she's a writer. And I told her, I said, hey, I want to go to school. And she's like, perfect. Let's look at scholarships. Let's look. Like I'm gonna help you. Let's do this. So it was like a good 2 solid weeks of going back and forth and writing essays from prompts and doing all that and seeing what I was eligible for. Um, I worked pretty hard on that and I did fairly well. And I was proud of myself. I've never been to college, 42 years old. Um, and so that was a big preparation for me. And now going into, I really like the separation commitment because it's friends and friend groups and play dates and things like that. And a lot of my friends on the weekend are like, come on, let's get together. And it's like, oh no, sorry guys, I have to stay home and write this paper. Sorry guys, I have to stay home and study and rock it on my exams. And I'm very thankful actually for my age because I feel like just time management wise and my maturity is playing a big role because my GPA is really very good right now. And I've done very good this semester due to just the commitment um, of what I prepared for and now my journey, right? Going through this. So, and it's just the beginning. Um, and so I feel like I've left some friends and family behind during this first semester for sure. Um, Even my children, in some sense, they don't get so much time with me at times. I definitely do try to work more so at night and as much as I can when I have those pockets at school. Um, but it's just, it's the sacrifices you make that, to move through. You have to give something to get something. I firmly believe in that. It doesn't matter what it is. Um, and what else? Um, I don't know. I feel very thankful for my older age to be going to school because I feel super focused. It's like super motivating for me. If I was in my 20s, I wouldn't be this motivated, so I kind of feel
Yeah.
like it's good timing for me.
You also have more maturity than the majority of students, probably.
Yeah. But I love my younger peers. I actually feel like I get them more out of their shell. Like a lot of these young kids, like I've friended a lot of these young kids and we actually have quite a bit of study groups. Um, and it's been really good because I'm like, oh, they're helping me in a way, right? And then I'm repaying them and helping them in a different way of like getting them more out of their shell and just being comfortable with, don't be so shy. Like we're all here on the same journey trying to accomplish the same thing, so it's been really great. I'm really, really loving it. I'm like, oh, can I make a career out of this? Am I going to become a scholar? Like, what's happening? It's been great.
An 18 or 19-year-old person, though, their brains are different than someone over 25. When you're
Yep.
18 or 19, you're still not an adult learner. Adult learners are very different. As an adult learner, we take things very personally.
Well,
And
and just life experiences in general, help your mental model and help you frame who you are. And even at that young age, it's like, even though some may have more experiences than others, as you get older,
yeah.
the file cabinet begins to get a lot bigger with experiences. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
So,
But I'm also saying
yeah.
they're no longer in the formative stage. I mean, they're still in the formative stage. And
Hmm.
like as someone who's 18 or 19 years old gets an F on a test, it is not that big of a deal to them. But to anyone, and as an adult learner, an F on a test is a really hard blow.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, I don't see any of those. So, none so far.
Fortunately, the only
Uh,
tests I failed lately are COVID tests. So, all right, where are we at? And it's not, here we go. And here we are now, the Huakai. We are here, the moment of struggle. So I hope hopefully your experience, there is no struggle whatsoever. It's smooth sailing, right? There's never any conflict, never any struggles, right?
in
So
a perfect world.
but I mean, living with the dream, hopefully you're prepared, but still, no matter what, there are always scary things that happen. And what are you going to do? And how is this education? How is it changing you? How's it bringing things? And do you get any help? Who is your helper? Is anyone a false guide? Do we have any anti-helpers like Han Solo in Star Wars? He's a false guide, kind of thing. So, and how then reflecting on that, how's it helping the future? I mean, and for me, and also Elizabeth and I, we just got back from the national STEM conference. And one of the things they mentioned a few times was imposter syndrome. And
Hmm.
I remember this, and like I guess that's what they call it now. They used to call it in part the readjustment of academic self-esteem, but I guess they're kind of related. But I remember when I was in grad school, like the first 2 weeks, I felt like I was afraid, like, you know what, Mike, we made a mistake and we're gonna send you back to Ohio. And so get in a plane and go back to Ohio in disgrace, kind of thing. And I mean, like, I didn't even get the jokes the teachers were telling me, like it was that bad. I'm like, what is he talking? The class is laughing. I'm like, I'm laughing too, but like, I don't get the joke. I mean, but of course I'm laughing along because, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. Ha ha ha, laugh at a professor's jokes. I'm like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. And so like with that, like, and I was such an arrogant person, maybe like, as far as like I thought I knew everything. Like it was I had this idea like, oh, I'm gonna go and grad school is gonna be so easy. It's gonna be a piece of cake. And then I get here, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? And that was those first 2 weeks were a tough 2 weeks. But I must say that after that though, and then like I had to learn how to learn and like do everything so quickly. Like, and it was such a growing experience. And so then I got through that and I was able to got through the first term. And then at least for my school, we have an oral exam that's our qualifying exam. And like I was studying for the qualifying exam and I have never been so focused in my life. I mean, I could in a period, I remember as I was like so focused, I could read a book in about 3 or 4 hours and understand everything that was in that book. I have never had that level of focus ever again in my life. But I remember studying for the prelims and absorbing all that information, and it was good. It was then when I had the prelim exam, I remembered like uh in the middle of the test, I had brought a bottle of water with me that I could sip on, and I ended up knocking it over and like spilled it all over like it was in a professor's office, and I spilled it all over his like papers, and I think it was some of his like kids' drawings or something like that. I'm like, I'm so sorry, and he's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, like, but I really bad. Like, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. And then I I finished the test, and then I remember like 3 days later, I'm like, oh my God, I poured water all over Professor Cohen's papers. Like, what was I thinking? What I mean? Like, I was just so focused and there's still people that have I have nightmares about tests. You ever have that? You have nightmares that oh, okay. You don't? Okay. I have nightmares that that I like I show up to a class, I'm like, hey, it's the final exam. I'm like, oh, I can pass this. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I still have that's one
Who
of my
knows? I mean, I may have nightmares in the future. Um, I had an exam this morning and it was the calmest I've been through the whole semester. Through
Mhm.
so it was good. I was like, okay, it's building, and I'm like finding a way to just like, you know, just calm, just prepare, and just go in and do it. Um, but yeah, I hope not to have any nightmares about exams. At
I still
all.
have nightmares, but I mean, I haven't been a full-time student for many years, and that,
Mm-hmm.
apparently it's a common nightmare. But
Gosh.
anyways, so I did a struggle for me was, a combination of readjustment of academic self-esteem and imposter syndrome. And I got through it a large part with camaraderie with my classmates. And a lot of it was just, I mean, my own journey and kind of, just I mean, and my self-esteem went way down, and in a way I just was able to pick myself back up and kind of understand my topic and build and slowly over time build more more self-confidence. I can tell you that I still am not as self-confident as I was when I graduated from undergrad. That was probably the most self-confident, and it obviously was false. I mean, so it wasn't really, I haven't been to that level of confidence yet. So it's um haven't gotten there yet, but that's still a good thing, like
Mm-hmm.
keeps me, uh, like because we're all lifelong learners, so of course we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna learn new things. So, but yeah, that's the help that I had along the journey. And after, if you consider my current journey, for me, I mean, mentors have helped me along the way. I didn't, although I had my graduate advisor, but in some ways, I mean, like, I think a lot of the mentorship came from some of the upperclassmen and postdocs in graduate school as much as the advisor. But anyways, I will go on. If you want to, if anyone else wants to talk about things, please go ahead.
Um, Moments of struggle, I would say for me is just struggling through at times with my hectic schedule of being a mom because I have two little ones. And we're pretty stockpiled with like things to do. Yeah, always it's like getting my one daughter to a bus stop in at 6:40 in the morning and then bringing my boy back and making him breakfast, then taking him to his school. And then I'm off to school and then picking up kids. And it's just, I think the biggest struggle has just been going, going, going. Um, but I feel like as a mom, I do definitely have a superpower of I have a lot of stamina. Um, because I think I was just kind of born that way. I think my God-given talent is I am a natural athlete, to be honest with you. I can pick up a sport, I can do pretty hefty things. Um, so I would say that that's just been the biggest struggle of just like juggling. And to be honest, how I've been moving through that struggle is through support of my family. My mom is such a huge support um, and inspiration. My mother was had six children. She was a single mom after her and my father split up, and she went to UC Irvine and was a year away from getting her doctorate with six children, all on her own.
Wow.
Um, so I mean, to me, I've had the best example. So I'm like, I have two kids and I'm going to, to college full time. Like, what am I really have nothing to complain about. So that's really gets me through those moments is I just look at her and then I speak with her and she's like, you got this. Like you see me, you saw what I did and you come from me. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's just been really, really helpful. And of course, the guys at Muo'ae, Bobby, Leilani, Chelsea, all those guys have been super, super supportive. And I easily see them. I'm in there 4 days a week, going into study, talking with them, whatever help I need, tutor, you know, it's been great. And I do really, really feel like as far as improvement, um, it's, I would say that it definitely has just re-sparked my engagement with myself and what I know I'm capable of. And it's been really, really rewarding. Um, that's been super rewarding for me. Just to see everything that I've been able to achieve just in this, first semester. And, we have 4 more weeks to go. And I feel like I've been really thriving at school and just being able to do it and do my family and of course, things are going to change and things are going to ebb and flow and there's going to be things and you're going to have to pivot. But I'm really, really thankful for the support that I have at Maui College for sure. Those guys have been really, really great.
So this is your first term as a full-time student. When you get to the finals week, actually, what's going to happen is your stress is going to get really high.
Oh yeah, it's building. It's already building.
Yeah.
Um, sure.
Yeah, and you can
Um,
feel that and like because like as you approach the end of the semester, the projects start becoming due and also the final exams. And you know what the nice thing about like the student experience though is that once your finals are over, it's over. And like then you get a really good, sense of accomplishment and a lot of people get sick. Actually, a lot of people get sick around that time too.
makes sense.
And
Breakdown.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, but they get sick like right after finals. Like that's when
Hmm.
they catch a cold and stuff like that. And but when you're doing the finals week though, a little bit of advice. It's prioritize yourself a lot. And it's kind of give yourself, like some forgiveness to be a little selfish and selfish in terms of self-preservation. So,
Hmm.
I mean, like this isn't the time to agree to help your neighbor move. This isn't
No.
this isn't you don't have to be super strict in your diet. You can have a little Taco Bell, you can have a few donuts,
Oh
kind
yeah,
of thing.
that's
It's like you can cheat a little bit on your diet, like I said, and you don't have to agree to help somebody with some Herculean task.
hmm
Afterward, that's fine. Maybe you can say like, hey, Mom, can you help us watch the kids for a little bit while I study? Like it's okay, like to be a little selfish and kind of let yourself give yourself some breaks, give yourself some a few, self whatever self-care.
what do
Do
they
some
got?
self-care.
Self-care stuff. I'm good at that. I'm a bath person. I live on 2 acres. I go outside. I have my plants. I plant my plants. So I feel like I have a pretty good balance with that because I know it's like for me, even though I have stamina, if I hit a wall, I have to reset. It's like what I can't keep banging my head against the wall. I gotta like stop and then I gotta come back to it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
So
yeah, yeah, good for you. Good for you. That's amazing. And I and keep up with it. I'm just saying that as the finals come, you might need to reset a few times.
more
So
self-preservation.
yeah, and I mean, you can't do that forever because that's the definition of being a jerk, right? If every day is your birthday and I'm special and everyone should I mean, that's the definition of a jerk kind of thing, but or whatever, first character syndrome or whatever the heck they call it. But
hmm
take during finals week being a little um a little bit more about self-preservation, that's okay. And I tell my students that too, so keep that in mind. And I can see, and you said that you're building up to that, right? And you can feel the stress building. Yeah. And
hmm
I guess you guys get KSSK over there. You can listen to Christmas carols now.
I think I'll hold off on the Christmas carols for now. We're not quite there yet.
I don't know. I listen to Let It Snow as I'm driving by the coconut palms. So it's kind of fun. But okay, well I know it's beyond the content of the Kyle framework, but I just want to let you know the first year.
No, thank you. Yeah.
And and at the end you finish. So now you're done, and I can tell you that the best thing about when you're done and you graduate is the sleep. The sleep is so glorious. I love cats, and I slept like a cat, like the 14 hours a day. It must have been for a week. I slept so well.
Nice.
And oh man, I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to do anything. No, I'm done. I'm finished. I can go back to sleep. So so once you get over your awesome sleeping stint and feel regenerated, you have to give back. So how are you going to give back? And one thing about this though, I mean, so Elizabeth and I were teachers, and I mean, one of the ways that we give back as by educators, but there is nothing wrong with being amazing in your field or making lots of money or doing that. You don't have to be teachers. We're not more pure, we're not higher class because we're professors. So there are other ways to give back. I know a lot of students like, I would love, I mean, of course, it does pull at my heartstrings to say they want to be professors, but I mean, there is not really anything special about that. I mean, everyone can give back in his or her own way, and it does not have to include academia. And you already mentioned, I know with your degree, you're looking to preserve the earth and preserve the environment. And I mean, certainly that is giving back as well. So, and like, although if I talk about my own journey, my giving back is a large part due to my teaching and passing on my knowledge that way, and also mentoring students. But that's not everyone can do that. I mean, it's actually a very relatively small amount of the population, you know, especially in our capitalist society, we need people that produce things economically, right? So and producing in a proper way. You mentioned not, working for the hotel. You're not working for the hotel and in that specific industry, or maybe if you do work in the industry, you work in a different fashion and approach things in a different way and bring a different sense of goodness to that. So this is the end. So how are you going to give back? How do you plan on giving back? I mentioned myself. I know I'm probably if you don't mind me speaking for Elizabeth, she's doing the same pathway. But so how would you give back? What do you think about it? Of course, you're not there yet, but how would you give
Mhm.
back?
Um, I've thought about trying to work within Maui County through some kind of, trying to bring up our municipality from like draconian ages and trying to do better infrastructure, um, mindful, light impact. I've thought about that. And more that I am kind of, as I dive in and, read not so happy articles about more things that are happening in the world with our climate. And, it's always about the bottom line, who can afford it? Who can afford it? And so I thought, I've been thinking like, man, I feel like really the only way we can, well, one of the main ways we really need to start truly approaching this is through our children, really teaching the younger generation. And I've been kind of thinking about that. Like, we need more programs for kids to really hit this kind of stuff, like hit the nail on the head of teaching kids of what's going on with the world in, not so much doom and gloom, but, these poor guys, our generations and my kids' generations, they're the ones that are going to be pretty much left with this. Yeah. So I don't know. I have a lot of ideas that, dreamer. I also thought, I could even take my degree into business and trying to get businesses into more, you know, holistic ways of approaching their business and just trying, there's so much. I mean, this field is growing so much and I'll hop on LinkedIn and I look up, sustainability, science management, or, this sector, whatever. And these jobs are just popping up all over the place in so many different areas, private sector. Like, I mean, I saw one for the Epcot Center for somebody to come in to help bring, you know, more sustainable options and more of a sustainable infrastructure to Epcot Center. I was just like, man, this field is really, really growing. So I'm not quite sure exactly, but I definitely do want to stay here in Hawaii and use it. I don't want to have to go somewhere else and take what I've learned somewhere else. So, water treatment, I actually was really eyeing doing that 2-year water treatment
Mhm.
program.
Yeah.
I- yeah, I was really, really eyeing that before I decided to do this program. Um, and I thought, wow, that would be actually really, really something interesting that I would love to get into. But I decided to take the SSM program because I wanted to stick to more of a science-based, and get more I want more information and knowledge on how our world works. And I thought that that would be such a strong thing to have to bring to a sustainable background to really know your talking points and really know how systems in the world work, on the planet work. I think it's just I think if more people knew that, they would be a little bit more aware of how mindful and be more mindful of how they walk through this world, to be honest with you. If people actually knew about orological systems and how, I mean, I think it would wake people up a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna do something with it, do something positive with it. And kids, I think, is a very, very big, I think teaching children straight on and having more programs in schools about sustainability. The word gets thrown around so much, but I think that could be a really, really cool thing to get into too, into education around some kind of program with young kids. My daughter goes to Kaiapuni and it's great, Paia School, because
Mm.
it's very, very land-based. It's, culturally based, very family-centric, and it's land-based. And I see the difference between her friends that go to non-Kaiapuni school, which, that's great. But I see a difference in the mindfulness of how those children interact with the environment. And it it's been sparking a little spark in me like, oh, this could be really, really good for children to start teaching children more of these things to carry through and to pass on. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm gonna do some good, guys. Don't worry.
I was hoping you would
Worry.
take over the world and do some evil, but I'm just kidding. Anyways, but some take-home messages from this. I mean, I know hopefully students are listening. You've listened to some of the stories shared, and there is a there's a common struggle. Everyone struggles. College is not easy. It's not an easy time of your life. It's tough. It's tough, and
Hmm.
support that if you and it's up to you to take a hold of it. Um, and at the same time, enjoy the journey. This is an amazing journey. It's a great. I loved my years as a student, and and so as much as you can, enjoy it, and you'll for me, I don't think I've ever reached that pinnacle back when I was studying of the focus and of my mind.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and uh, also, I'm going to close up the recording soon, but I want to reiterate that we want to make sure you get your money. And if we do not get it to you by the end of February, it is gone forever. So please be Johnny on the spot when it comes to giving me the information I ask for, because we have to do all sorts of checks and balances
Yeah.
as we go through the bureaucracy of the University of Hawaii, and it's a very massive bureaucracy. So it is important that we get this done. So and I'm usually we start after the drop ed period to make sure that you have the right number of classes. But in talking to Elizabeth, we are going to start doing this before then, just so
Hmm.
to double ensure that the paperwork is in and are put in process, so that you get paid before the end of the grant. So, um, does anybody have any last questions before I stop the recording?
So the grant is a two-parter, yeah, as long as we keep our GPA up at, I believe it was a 3.0, which is and then you get half of it for fall and then the other half is for spring. So you
Yeah,
will just be sending out like the same paper to sign and
yeah,
then so same drill as it was for fall semester.
yeah. As far as a GPA, so it depends. If you're on academic probation, you have 1 semester to get above the 3.0 GPA. If you have below a 3.0 GPA, you'll be put on academic probation this semester, but it's the last semester, so it's kind of, you know,
Hmm.
it's unless you were on probation before, it doesn't really matter because the grant's ending, kind
Hmm.
of thing. So that
Yeah,
there's less consequence to that. And but
I'm
that
good
being
on
said,
that.
that being said, please do well. You know, please get above a
Yep.
3.0. So
Wait, get above a 2.0?
a 3.0.
Oh, I was like, wait.
Did I say
Oh no,
2.0? Yeah.
yeah. I'm good
3.0.
right now. I'm at a 3.8 right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I got all my so I'm good. And then we have I'm pretty much I'm good besides for three classes just for finals. The other one is gonna be easier for me, my English course. And then I'm just more worried about my math class final, but I rocked that today. I got a 92 on my exam for math.
I,
So,
I am still recording this, so I mean, if you don't want to, I can, do you
oh,
want
it's fine. I'm
you want me
not
to, I can cut that out or something and
And
edit,
trim.
but
trim if you want. I'm fine with that. Is that going to be used against me? I mean, I'm like, I don't know.
in a court of law, yes.
Use it against me.
You
Um,
said you were getting a 3.8. This,
mhm.
you got a 4.0 instead. You clearly were not, you were lying.
Yeah, no, no. Maybe a little bit of my ego. Hopefully I can get there, but well, it's fine. If I can keep it at this, I'll be stoked. So, Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I think I'm gonna stop recording then. I'll stop the record. And where is the record? I had that before. Oh, here it is.